Alright, so this is going to be a video on how to change the oil in a Kawasaki zx10r. This is an '04 model. So first what you have to do is there's a big black piece that goes right here. You have to take that off. There's these little rubber things. There's one there, one on top, and there's another one around in there somewheres. And two more right there. After that, you have to take off the fairings, so, you know, all the little bolts on both sides. And I've never actually changed the oil on this before, so this is kind of a learning experience for me. But what I've heard is tinfoil. You have to put tinfoil on the manifold, because the way Kawasaki did this, the oil will just kind of pour down onto the pipes and be really, really stinky. Okay, so now that the fairing is off, one little thing I need to mention, there's some pegs that go in here, and they're pretty stubborn, so it's going to feel like something is holding the fairing, like the fairing is stuck. So, don't yank it, but you can pull gently and kind of like wiggle it around, and it'll come out. One quick tip while you're doing this kind of stuff, put your screws back in their holes. That way you don't lose them, and it'll save you some time later on, possibly. Because we all know how much it sucks to lose a screw. You get everything back together and you find out, oh, there's a screw missing. Alright, so here is the oil drain plug, whatever you want to call it. This is really awkward to do with one hand. You just kind of, you know, do that. I'm really leery about doing this with my hand because the engine is still rather hot. Just got back from the auto store picking up all the oil and the filter and all that crap, so I don't want to burn myself. And of course I don't have wrenches, so I'm stuck with this. The perks of being poor. There it goes. So then you just kind of let that do its thing. One other thing I need to mention, put your bike up on stands. Preferably both, because, you know, there's nothing keeping the bike from rolling around right now. Which I found that out the hard way. Trying to undo this, the whole bike just kind of shifted forward. Which was rather scary. So, yeah, in the future, both stands. Or possibly just the front. Maybe not, because it's on the forks, and forks turn. We'll just say both stands. One more thing I need to mention. For the fairings, there's these rubber grommet things, and there's really no way around this, but they kind of fall apart. So it might be a good idea to get more. I don't know, maybe get a handful of them from the Kawasaki dealership or something like that. I know I'm going to have to now because that one's in pieces. And that's how the bolts are held in. There's a little threading in there. And, yeah. So there's another Kawasaki drawback to look forward to. Alright, so update. The filter is in such a horribly awkward position that I can't get to it with my hands, so I have to use some big channel locks. And then the tire is in the way, so that's kind of fun. I'll update when the filter is off and quite possibly crushed. Kind of like my car filter. Alright, so here is what's called a crush washer. And if you look closely, you can see why. There's a big dent in there. And there's the new one. I don't know if it was just my dealership that did this or if all of them do it, but they offered to sell me one of these, and they're $1, which is kind of outrageous, but whatever. Take it. Don't say no. take the washer. You're gonna need it. Because, you know, obvious reasons. Okay, so now that the oil is done draining, you can put the drain bolt back in. And the manual says 14 foot-pounds of torque. I don't have a torque wrench, so I just go until it feels uncomfortable to continue. You know, it's worked so pretty well so far, so why change it if it's not broken, you know? Alright, so I got the filter out, and you can see how the oil is pouring out of there like so. Like a river of sadness. And here's the filter. Like I said, crushed to shit, and I'm dripping all over myself. Yeah, if you can't afford the filter wrench thing, get some big channel locks. They work. Filter is useless, but you know, why would you want to use it again anyways? I can definitely see why K&N put the little socket bolt, whatever you want to call it, on their filter, because that sucked. You know, knuckles are kind of fucked up, but the job is done. So I'm gonna let this do its thing for a few more minutes, then I'll put the new filter on and fill it up with some more go juice. Updates to come. Alright, so when you put the oil filter back on, try to get it to focus a little bit, you have to be really careful if you're using channel locks not to crush the new filter. I realized that as I had the new filter in my hand, like, crap, this is gonna be tough. And it is. I don't know if you can see, I've got a bit of scuff mark right there. What I found worked is you take the channel locks, go right in from the front, and you get just enough pressure to rotate the filter, but not enough to crush it, which kind of a fine line, but you know, you'll find it. And then instead of twisting a little bit and then repositioning and twisting a little bit, you know, back and forth kind of thing, find a good spot and twist it as far as you can. That way you don't have to re-grip the filter again and again and again. I hand tightened this as much as I could, and I think I only had to reposition the channel locks 3 times. So, you know, and the filter's not crushed, so it can be done. You just have to be careful about it. So for the fill plug, I used a soft mallet, and you just kind of hit on the end where it, you know, in the direction it needs to go. And as you can see, it's working. So you just kind of do that, and voila. Sorry. Here we go. I'm going to leave that on there for right now until I'm ready to fill, because I don't know if you can see this, but there's a bunch of dirt flying around in the air. That's because there's a quarry near here, and they just love covering our shit with dirt. So, you know, I'll do that. And then the zx10, I don't know if this is just the 04 model or not, but manual says 3.9 quarts with a dry engine. I don't think I'm quite dry, but I'm pretty close. So I bought 4 because you can always return one that you don't use. I got these at O'Reilly's, and O'Reilly's price matched for me, which I didn't think they did. But O'Reilly's had it for $9.17, and by the way, this is Mobile 1 full synthetic, 10W30, because I'm going into the winter season and it's going to be cold. Anyways, O'Reilly had it for $9.17, and Walmart apparently had it for $7. So they price matched for me, which is great because I absolutely hate shopping at Walmart. And that's a rant for another time. So I'll leave it at that for now. What I like to do when I'm refilling oil, whether it's on a motorcycle, my car, whatever it is I'm working with, I pour a little bit of oil in, and then I walk around and make sure nothing's dripping again. And it's not. So I'm good to go. What I will do once I'm done with this is I'm going to go back through the drain nut and the filter, and I'm going to retighten them, because, you know, better safe than sorry. And then after that, I'm done. So put the fairings back on, start it up, let it run for a little bit, then let it sit for a little bit, and then check the level. And hopefully it should be where it needs to be. If so, job well done. If not, back to O'Reilly's. So, it's taken 3 quarts so far, and I look down here to the little window, and as you can see, the oil is past the top of it. So, maybe it only takes 3. I'm going to go online real quick just to make sure I'm not missing something, because it would suck to have not enough and then blow some pistons or whatever. So, I'll get back to you once I find out. Okay, so the user manual says 3.5 quarts, but that's kind of a load of shit. I talked to my mechanic buddy, ironically enough, the previous owner of this bike, and he said 4 quarts. 4 full quarts. So you see, there they are. And the reason for that is, when the motorcycle starts up, all of the oil gets sucked up into the engine. So if you have, let's say, 3.7 quarts, that's all in the engine. And that's, you know, straight up and down idle. So if you're leaning the bike over and, you know, going through some twisties and whatnot, then the engine's going to be wanting some oil, and there's not going to be any oil to give. So that extra quart will have a bit of a pool underneath the pump. So if you're leaning the bike over and whatnot, and you decide to get on the gas, the engine has some oil to get into. And fortunately, motorcycles aren't like cars in the aspect of too much oil. So in a car, too much oil will cause problems. You know, you could seize up, a gasket could leak, something like that. Not the case with the motorcycle. Actually, it's kind of a good thing to have too much, because, like I said, the engine won't go wanting. So, 4 quarts, Mobil 1 synthetic. Doesn't have to be Mobil 1, but it has to be 10W30 for winter, 10W40 for winter. Wow, really? 10W40 for summer. Yeah. Now I just have to put the fairings and all that stuff back on, because it looks ugly as shit right now. And I need to add some cooling. So, take a quick update when I'm done, and that's about it. Alright, so it's all back together now. Takeaways. Be careful. If you try to rush through things, you could break something, kind of like I did. Get the right tools. You know, obvious reasons. If you want, while you have everything taken apart, you can clean it. You might need it. I know I certainly did the first time I took this apart. You know, you can see all that crap right there. Kind of catches from the chain right into that little, I don't know, whatever that is. What else? Do your research. The manual, you know, it was obviously written for a reason, but sometimes real-world applications differ slightly, so, you know, do your research. Other than that, I don't think I have anything. So, yeah, there's the oil change. Take it easy, guys.